I want to share with you a new study that came out. This was a survey that was conducted by the Pew Research Center. So this is important because it gives us some brand new information as far as how people are using AI in different ways. This survey was conducted in early February 2024. And the big part about this is that they had 10,133 people that participated in the survey. Also, keep in mind that this was conducted on Americans, so this was done in the United States. First of all, the thing that's interesting here is that what they found is that in asking the question, have you ever used ChatGPT? They found that 23% had and 43% hadn't. That's an interesting finding in itself. A lot of people think that, oh, yeah, everyone knows about it. No, a large percentage of people have, but there's still plenty more people that need to learn about it, that need to develop AI literacy skills. An interesting question here is, have you ever used ChatGPT for any of the following? And it asks the question about to learn something new. So that's important for us in academia because now we can better understand how people are using it for learning or for educational purposes. Now, the big thing here is that it says 17, so 17% of the people are using it for education or to learn something. But the big part here is that that's a huge jump from basically last year where it was 8%. So we're talking about more than doubling of the amount of people that are now using it for education. So that's an important finding as well. Similarly, we see the finding here talking about the question of based on adults who are currently working for pay. The question was, have you used ChatGPT for tasks at work? Again, we see a major jump that now it says 20%, but last year it was only 8%. So a more than doubling are now using it for something in their work. So this goes back to the big push that I've always been saying as far as we have to develop AI literacy skills within our students because people in work are using it more and more. And this is clear evidence of that. And that we've gone from 8% to now 20%, again, in just a year. Another important finding, and I plan to do a video about this here in the near future, talking about the elections. They asked the question directly of, have you ever used ChatGPT to get information about the 2024 US presidential election? Only 2% say, yes, I have done this. Now, again, this is February, so it's pretty early as far as getting information about the election. I expect that number is going to increase a huge amount as we get closer and closer to November. That's when we have the elections here in the United States. But the big thing here is also the survey itself is asking ChatGPT. I find that really interesting in that one of the things that I see a lot is people use that term ChatGPT as sort of a ubiquitous synonym for AI in general. Sort of like saying, instead of saying tissue paper, we just say Kleenex a lot in the United States. Kleenex is a brand of tissue paper, but it was one of the very first ones to come out. So it becomes sort of a synonym for the word itself. In the same way, I think maybe that's what they were going for, or that's what they thought about with this survey. But of course, ChatGPT is just one. There's plenty of other ones, right? We have Gemini, Copilot, all sorts of different ones that are available, but they're using the term ChatGPT. So I found that interesting too. But I definitely expect that number of people using AI to get information about presidential elections, that number I think is going to skyrocket. So we'll see here in the near future. Additionally, the Pew Research Center has a great summary of all the things associated with this study. It talks about some additional information as far as the population, who's more likely to use ChatGPT, which is adults under 30, but there's still an increase in use for people of other ages as well. Very interesting information, differences by age, all sorts of different things. Another interesting point here is the differences by education. A third of employed Americans with a postgraduate degree have used ChatGPT for work, compared with smaller shares of workers who have a bachelor's degree, only 25%, in some college, 19%. Or a high school diploma or less, 8%. Lots of great information here in this page. I'll link it in the description as well as in the comments. So overall, this was some interesting information. Again, the big power of this is that it does come from the Pew Research Center, which is a pretty well-trusted center that does a lot of this type of research. And they're doing this in a longitudinal way. So we're going to get an update on this probably in 6 months. So the big thing here, though, is to see how the trajectory here is really going up and up as far as its actual use. No hype. We're talking about actual use. So we need to keep an eye on that in education. we want to avoid the hype, but we also want to be realistic. I still run into instructors all over the place that question whether AI is even a thing. Well, it is a thing. You have all sorts of nations and United Nations and all sorts of different organizations talking about the importance of AI, talking about the need for AI literacy. And now here's further proof about how it's being used. And again, the key thing here, not just how it's being used, but the level of use and how it's doubling. This is very quick. The adoption rate is unbelievable, more so than cell phones, more so than most other technology. So we have to keep that in mind, and that should help us to definitely understand the urgency of AI and the need to ensure that all of our students, all of our faculty, we need to get that first, so that all of our students are developing these AI literacy skills so that they can function properly, so that they can use the information correctly, so that they can use this as a tool and understand when it's appropriate to use, when it's not appropriate to use, so that they can develop critical thinking, they can develop capabilities, awareness, knowledge. Again, these are all important factors of AI literacy so that we can develop the very best student, so that not only can they perform well at a workplace, as we can see from this research study is being used more and more, but also so that they can function well in a society that's infused with AI, so that they are critically aware, so that they can be properly informed about elections and everything else. So it comes into play, not just for work, but also for just to be a good citizen. So please understand this information and use this in your classroom. And again, be part of this community, ask questions, always be asking questions, and help each other out so that we can continue to properly address this new situation and this new developments with AI. And remember, learning is for life. Thank you, everyone. I appreciate you watching this video. Thank you for subscribing. Please like, share, comment. I love your comments and I love to address them. Again, we want to continue to develop this community of practice so that together we can help each other out and be able to fully address all the different aspects of AI integration into education.